Hey there, fellow model railroaders. Welcome to my channel and my very first episode of City Life 187 scale. It's there somewhere. As described in my intro, it's all about the city life in 187 scale. So in this episode, let me walk you through what I have to do in order to get started. Follow me. Here we are in the future train room. Unfortunately, I have to deal with all of this first before I can start building the layout. So I have a lot on my plate right now. As you can see, it's going to be in the garage, but future train room. Wow, what a mess. But after doing that portion of the video, I decided to go ahead and order me a 10 by 12 storage shed, which should be here next week. I can get started on my layout. So while waiting on that to come in, here's a video of something I did in the past. On this video here, this was a little shelf board that I had built for my brother back in 2004. As we're panning around and seeing the different buildings, some were kits and some are going to be scratch built. As we're zooming in on the top of that truck right there, that it was a model that my dad had put together. The Pepsi truck, it may or may not be to scale, not really sure. As we're panning back around and we're coming upon this sign right here, I scratch built that. I used magazines, cut them out, and put them on there. At that time, we didn't have the internet. And as we're coming back around, slowly but surely, coming away from the church and moving over into the houses. As I said, some were kits, some were scratch built, not really sure which is which. Now as we're looking at the school bus, again, that may not be to scale. The mailboxes and the fences, they were things that my dad had bought. I'm not sure if you can still buy them or not. You should be able to maybe find them online, just not sure where. This house here, that was actually made by my brother. I modified it a little bit and gave it to the form that it was in this video. It actually turned out pretty good. I was quite happy with that. That patio kit, one more time, may or may not be available online, not really sure. The trees, I am not sure if I had built those or if those were things that my dad had, and then I just utilized them, maybe fixed them up a little bit. Again, some more of the fence line. That house was just definitely a kit. As we're panning back around, coming to the satellite dish, that was also something that my dad had, and I believe that house right there was also a kit. Not sure if you can find the satellite dish anymore. Coming back onto the other side of the road over here past the school bus, this right here was a log cabin that my dad had made. He scratch built that. That's where I learned a lot of my traits from. He actually did a pretty good job on that one. I was very impressed with that. Over here, we have the U-Haul truck with a family either moving in or moving out. The entertainment center, I scratch built that. You decide whether they're moving in or moving out. I thought it looked pretty cool on the set, on layout though. Again, the truck may or may not be to scale. Not really sure. As we're moving out away from that house, and I believe that was a scratch-built one that my dad had done. As we're moving back around past the trees, over into this pool area, that was also something that my dad had, but not really sure if you're able to find that anymore. That would be really cool if I can. And I'm going to try to reduplicate these buildings that you have currently seen and are going to see. As we continue to pan to that patio table and the chairs, now that floor I did myself. That was something that I scratch built. As we're painting back around and coming on over past the log cabin, getting the overall view of the whole board that I had made for my brother. It wasn't too big, but it turned out pretty good, I think. We ended up putting that on his wall right there. Um, the buildings, unfortunately, like I said, are no longer around. What happened was my mom, where she was living at, she had moved, and most of this stuff got put down into a basement of her new house. And unfortunately, the flooded and they got ruined. I appreciate you guys watching, and I hope you enjoy the little bit of video that's left.